Hello everybody, Zeidoktor here, and this episode of the Typical Manga Review is going to be all about One Piece, chapter 839, I Shall Never Forget the Debt That I Owe You. And our cover page this week is a nice little tribute to Kochi Kame, a 40-year running manga that never really is probably not that well known in the US side. It's a comedy manga, it's been going for 40 years, and it's about to wrap up, I think, this week. So we got ourselves a nice little tribute cover here of the main character, Ryotsu, having a wanted poster with Luffy drawing the character's distinctive eyebrows over it, graffitiing the poster basically. It's actually kind of funny because in that series, Ryotsu is a cop. I don't know how competent a cop he is because I haven't really read the series, but there you are. Moving along into the chapter proper, though, we still haven't gone back to Luffy's group yet. We're still focusing on Germa 66, with Ichi and Niji being welcomed back. And they talk about how like Broccoli is like one of the places that suffered greatly after Doflamingo's fall from power. Like Judge is explaining that they'd lost their primary weapons manufacturer in the midst of war, and then came growling to them for help. They are so desperate that they wanted to end it rather than letting their war drag out. And we have Reiju noting that this is a good example of an instance where trying to keep everyone alive would end up causing more casualties in the long run. Ichiji does not care. Niji is like, we just then decide that whoever writes the bigger check, that's all there really is to it. Yonji is like, hey, we could have made an even bigger profit if we played both sides. But someone points out that makes them no different than pirates, with Sanji right there. Since at this very moment they are still a nation officially registered as an affiliate of the world government, which prompts a reminder that the Reverie is coming up soon. And Judge notes that either way, in the not-so-distant future, they may well be stripped of their right to participate in the Reverie. Of course, he also points out that the moment that actually comes, then that'll be one step closer to their ultimate goal. That'll mean like big things for them. Right, being a little bit slow. There we go. Yeah, I think it's Nichiji noting that Judge is in unusually high spirits, and to think that Sanji, of all people, would ever actually be of use to them. Never thought they'd see the day. Hold your head high, Sanji. Man, all of us were a bit stunned when you just up and vanished into thin air. Sir, we would reminisce about you. Mostly because of how all the ways we... Mostly because... But discussion almost exclusively revolved around all the amusing and humorous ways you could have died while being out on your own. Of course, while Yanji's like actually like laughing at that, Sanji's like pointing out down to him like to finish what's left on his plate, telling Niji to finish his plate. Like, what? Oh, this? I left it there. I didn't want it. Yeah, we all know where Sanji feels about wasting food, so just had some of the most mouth-watering chocolate before we ate. And then weird potato sauce killed his appetite. Like, that alone makes him want to puke, so the only place that's going is the trash. Sanji is hearing none of this. Like, eat it. You're an ignorant, spoiled prince who doesn't know crap about the value of food. And Niji starts suddenly getting all upset here, so he immediately calls the head chef, and which is apparently a woman named Cosette, because what he thinks counts as food made Sanji ruin his good mood. She's pretty much groveling and taking full responsibility, and Niji responds by throwing the plate of food right at her. Only for Sanji to catch it before it can actually hit her. The food drops to the floor, but Sanji's just holding on to it, like angrily asking him if he's trying to leave a scar on a beautiful lady's face, which actually gets her blessing. Of course, Niji is just like, what? She's just some menial servant who prepares our meals. Reiju just knows that he's quite gentlemanly. And now the food's all over the floor, but that's not stopping Sanji from actually eating any of it. While he explains to Niji why this is actually a good meal, like it strengthens the immune system, maintains blood pressure, etc., etc. None of you have ever so much as glanced in the direction of an ingredient, so you haven't the slightest clue the time and effort put into selecting and preparing this meat confit. I probably mangled that pronunciation. Yeah, Sanji actually starts eating it off the floor, which actually gets Cosette warning him that we're else never do something like that, and even Niji's like repulsed. course, Sanji goes on to compliment the food, like it's like perfect seasoning, etc. And Niji actually attacks Sanji at this point, like declaring he's gotten too comfortable rubbing elbows with lowlifes, and he won't stand for such demeaning and despicable acts if he's going to call himself Niji's brother. Only for Judge to scream at him to stand down. Now is not the time or place right before the wedding. So the attack stops, but the sheer power of it is still like enough of a blowback to knock Cosette off her feet. Niji tries to tell him that Sanji brings shame to their family, but Sanji pretty much declares that being affiliated with this brings shame to him. Spoiled brats that don't appreciate a warm meal, men who dare raise their hands against a woman, royals who treat the lives of subordinates as nothing more than expendable pawns. Everything you do, everything you stand for, goes completely against every fiber of my body. Ichiji is pretty much just is that still Niji or is that yeah, it's Ichiji. He's pretty much just dismissing Sanji's opinions as prattle. Like, never understood how your brains work. Royals are meant to act like royals. The only person being disgraceful here is you. Oh, actually, hang on, I think I got my... Hang on. Because he's saying Niji's lock is his flawless, but I thought Niji was the one attacking him. Did I mix up who was who? Hey, sorry about this, I'm just double checking. Like, did I screw that up? Have I been referring to Ichiji as Niji, or... No, it says Niji is the one attacking him. Alright, so I'm going to say that this is a manga stream thing then. Anyway, like, Judge says the logic is flawless, and that you need to rein in that twisted thinking of yours, Sanji. Then he holds up a picture of Zeph, like perhaps it's this man that's had such a negative impact on your upbringing. Which, that pretty much brings Sanji's attention right on to him. Like, he explains the Big Mom's connections are very far and very deep. Like, also you've been keeping resident at this man's establishment until roughly 2 years ago. They already know exactly where he is, as well as the name of his restaurant, the Baratier. Sanji's actually gone a bit pale at this. And then we see Baron Tamago talking to Judge, telling that Sanji is apparently opposed to the marriage arrangements himself. So if worst comes to worst, use the wristlets, and it may be a bit heavy-handed, but exploiting the weakness of Zeph was sure to yield favorable results. Yeah, I'm sure it will. So Judge points out that if Sanji keeps insisting on defying their orders, I have it on good authority that this man will meet an unexpected and untimely death, and this will be your first and only warning on the matter. Get it through that thick skull of yours. Do not rock the boat. Do not cause waves. I know you're fully aware that each and every one of us here are capable of. The process will go off without a hitch, and you will accept it. You will say your goodbye to your old friends and your old life. As long as you're obedient and follow through with this marriage, everything and everyone will come out of this unscathed. And then, as everyone's leaving him behind, Sanji's thinking back to his past with Zeph, basically how Zeph pretty much ate his own leg to keep Sanji alive so he wouldn't starve. The creation of the Baratier. We see that Sanji was like ogling the female customers even when he was a kid, even dropping his plates as a part of the process. And basically there's just a generally combative relationship. But then we end up on when Sanji actually left the Baratier. When Zeph just gives him that simple don't get sick out there. And Sanji declares, to my dying day I shall never forget everything you've done for me. So we pretty much get the flashback to Sanji's past, in other words. Back in the present, Judge is still holding the pic photo of Zeph and declaring that they'll make tomorrow a great and memorable day. That they'll be having lunch with Big Mom and Pudding later that day. So make yourself presentable when the time comes. And then next page we got someone calling out for immediate help. They need a doctor. And actually it's Sanji. It's apparently because someone has actually beaten up Cosette. Like, her face is actually like really messed up. Sanji's pretty much assuming that it had to be Niji, because only he would be that vindictive. He's wondering what the hell this girl ever did to him. Like, what kind of man beats a woman to the point that she's rendered unconscious? Like, the man's not even scum, he's the crap buried beneath it. But Yanji points out that he brought this all on himself. And that's what happens when you stick up for peasants. So he's like, aren't you just itching to see Niji? Come with me, I'll show you where he is. Sanji goes along with it. And they're going along, like, Sanji's wondering where they are. But Yanji's like, you remember this place, don't you? After all, we tried our damnedest to get in here back when we were kids. And Sanji is shocked at what he sees when he walks in there, because apparently it's a room full of bottled people. Like all of the soldiers that they've been using in battle, like their living walls, their bodyguards, all of that stuff, are literally just being created. Apparently, it's like they're all in bottles, and they're just ready to be put out. And you have like people, scientists there, talking about like 54 of this type, 30 of this type, 21 more extras for this type. And this leaves Sanji just like freaking the hell out. It's like, what in the world? And that is where the chapter ends. And this is quite a shocking little reveal, because among other things, this at least justifies Gamma 66's reputation as being this big scientific like empire. I mean, they're actually like cloning people, like creating people. That's a big deal. And it might even explain why Big Mom is so interested in it, because she can create like blood relatives of any race she wants without having to worry about pesky little things like husbands now, if she gets a hold of that. I also wonder if they might even be, like, before they're awakened, before they're brought out, if they're susceptible to Big Mom's soul power. That could be an issue too. But in any case, it also brings up all sorts of implications, like, not the least of which, pretty much the blatant Nazi imagery that you see in the dinner scene. Like all the flags with the German 66 logo, the big old hawk logo, which I think was associated with Germany. I don't really know. You can correct me on that if I'm wrong. Doesn't matter, right? For the moment. It also brings up an interesting question to me. I mean, we have 4 brothers born on the same day with no mother in the parent's sight. What are we going to be taking from that, given this little reveal? Like, are we meant to assume that this means that they were clones as well? That Sanji is, like, from this? And that was one of my first thoughts on here. And I've been kind of keeping some track on some discussions on this chapter. Like, among other things, you've got the people, along with catching the imagery on there, we've also got like the development for Sanji on this, like just how far he'll, like, just kind of reiterating a lot of the point of his personality in this chapter. Like, for example, you've got the fact that he hates seeing food wasted. Like, he'll even eat off the floor if that's what it takes to make sure it doesn't go to waste. His willingness to defend a woman, and his sheer rage when a woman is actually hurt partly because of him. So this is definitely a big Sanji chapter. It's also a big Vinsmoke chapter, because we can see these guys just pretty much being made more and more to look like just utter assholes. I mean, there's really no other way to put it. I mean, we got Judge, who's threatening Zeph to get Sanji to cooperate, along with the wrist bombs. The brothers pretty much like thinking, like, almost not even capable of comprehending why Sanji is so upset by all this. Like, what's gone through his head. I mean, these guys have the same kind of mindset as the Celestial Dragons. Just kind of give an idea where we're standing up on that. The wild card at the moment seems to be Reiju, the daughter, because like, I've actually seen some people suggesting that maybe Reiju was the one who beat up Cassette, the chef. Like, just to kind of sow discord or just kind of mess with Sanji, which is definitely a good possibility. I mean, we're given pretty clear hints that this is like Niji, like he's vindictive, he's the one who's like really up against Sanji here, but in this chapter. So all the signs point to him, but there are also signs that Reiju could be like the one who did it. At least some people are theorizing that. I could go either way on that point. The main logic seems to be that Reiju's been kind of like the off to the side one. She hasn't been making any big moves. She's actually been kind of like amused, or like just kind of watching all this, which makes you wonder if she's actually as bad as everyone else, or if she's possibly worse and just good at hiding it. Like I said, I do wonder what's going to immediate aftermath of this is going to be, because like, is Sanji going to confront them, or is he going to find out more about this, or am I right? Could they actually all be like clone babies? And if so, because and if so, what about Sanji's development on this? Because I had been assuming that their mother just wasn't there. Like maybe like quadruplets didn't make the birth, like didn't survive the birth. Well, that would make sense with my actual thinking. But anyway, that would be like one option. Or at the very least, maybe his mother was responsible for teaching him about not harming women, because that was supposedly drilled into him at an early age to the point where he's almost incapable of it. And then there's also but then again, given what we're seeing here, maybe it was a servant woman, like a maid or something, or a nanny or something, that actually made the difference in Sanji's life early on. There's definitely some different ways that this could go here. But the key point is that there should be a mother figure somewhere in this, or at least someone who would teach Sanji about chivalry and something that affected Sanji separately from his brothers, that would make him the way he is, that would make him see things so differently. Because otherwise, there's no reason for him to, beyond just being born a decent human being, for him to actually be like this, like to actually be the one decent person in this whole group. So there are definitely some implications here to work through. Of course, I also wondered, like, would Zeph even be threatened by something from Big Mom's crew, like, or at least something, that menial assassin? Because we know he's pretty freaking tough. I mean, I was saying in my Hero Academia review, like, this old guys in One Piece are pretty damn tough. I mean, Zeph blew back bullets with his bad leg. So, I'm not too worried about him, but at the same time, we know that the scale of the New World is a lot higher. So, if Big Mom sent someone of that caliber, he could be in danger. Either way, though, it doesn't matter, because Sanji is not prepared to take that chance. I mean, between that and losing his hands, they've pretty much got him in a barrel. What I want to see now is when Luffy and them do reunite with Sanji, and Sanji tries to explain to them why he won't go with them, like what's going on, like what they've got him under. Luffy's declaration will be to just trash Garama Double Six, like just wipe it all out. Because if they do that, well then, they can hardly take revenge if everything's been smashed to pieces. But then again, if it's Big Mom doing the threatening, then it's harder to say for sure. Either way, like, this is not going to put them in Big Mom's good graces before the end of it. Lola connection or no Lola connection. So, I'm trying to think if there's anything else here at this point, because I think we've covered all the media points that came to my mind. I mean, this also kind of explains the soldiers' utter loyalty to Garama Double Sixes, the Vinsmokes. And also why it seems to be primarily males, especially in the military, because obviously they're made for that express purpose. They're actually probably programmed to be that loyal. Which, now to think about it, kind of creates kind of an echo chamber thing going with the Vinsmokes and their high and mightiness. I mean, they believe that royals are meant to act like royals, and then they actually go on to specifically breed people with that for the exact purpose of being their mindless, loyal slaves. I mean, it's no wonder there, right? Still, for now, I think we're good to go on this. We'll see some immediate aftermath next week, I'm hoping. In the meantime, though, this has been the typical manga review of One Piece Chapter 839. I will never forget the debt that I owe you, or whatever the English title might be, when this comes around. In the meantime, though, see you all later and have a good rest of your week.